the fuck was I even at last? Fuck it. Fuminoi seems to know these streets. Clearly intent on a single goal as he hurries through the residential neighborhood. Carved out of the hills, the area has many slopes, and here and there remain steep inclines and wooded areas that escape assimilation? I don't know. Koji, who moved to Tokyo to attend school, was amazed that such a quiet place exists, less than an hour out of the city. Before long, Fuminoi reaches a house. Without ringing the bell or even knocking on the door, he vanishes inside as though sucked into a vacuum, leaving Koji to wonder how Fuminoi can treat the house as his own. After waiting to see if Fuminoi will come back out, Koji approaches the gates and checks the nameplate. Ogi. Oh, that's the professor guy. That's right, now I remember things. Koji has never heard of anyone by that name among Fuminoi's acquaintances. Next, his attention is drawn to the thick wad of leaflets sticking out of the mail slot, which, coupled with the general dilapidated feel of the place, suggests that it has been long since abandoned. A small playground about 2 blocks away provides an adequate vantage point from which to watch the front of the Ogi home. Fortunately, it does not appear the sort of house has a rear exit. Trying to make sure I'm not breathing into this thing. Chiding himself for not stocking up on cigarettes, Koji settles down on a bench to begin his stakeout. 1 hour passes, and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the Ogi residence as twilight settles upon the neighborhood. After Koji's 1 pack of cigarettes runs out, the stick-up becomes a battle against the mounting impatience. He kills time by redialing Umi on his cell and sending her a short text message. But his efforts are futile, as he knew they would be. 'Cause she's fucking dead, bro. When the sky begins to turn deep blue and the street lights come on, Fuminoi finally emerges from the house and heads back towards the station with the same hurried stride. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now investigating the house is more important than tailing Fuminoi. Wait, why would he decide that? Whatever. He rings the doorbell just to make sure, receiving the expected silence in response. He checks to make sure no one is watching and turns the doorknob. The door is not locked. Oh, shit. The moment he enters the house, thick, stale air fills Koji's nostrils, redolent of mold and dust. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long lain untouched. There is also a faint hint of something indescribable in the air, something reminiscent of damp sewers and fetid cisterns. Flipping the light switch does nothing. The power must be dead, or perhaps cut off. Ooh, why is a visual novel disturbing me so much? Koji uses his oil lighter to illuminate the immediate area. In the thick dust covering the floor, he can clearly see several brand new trails of footprints that could have only been made by shoes. They must be Fuminoi's. Showing equal amount of reservation, Koji also enters with his shoes on. I didn't think they did that. The lighter's flickering flame pushes back the deathly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining. And the words stretch weird. Everything from furniture to tableware and appliances is intact. Nothing seems to be missing. The thickness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means the owner must have left with a little more than clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar then is still turned to April. Oh, empty and silent, yet still exhibiting signs of life that was once lived there. The house reminds Koji of a passenger ship resting at the bottom of the sea. In the graveyard-like quiet, a sinister thought suddenly rushes through his head. No one is living here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the owner has left. Maybe he was killed, and his rotting corpse is right under my feet. Okay. Koji finds himself wanting a stronger light. A mag light in his hand would make him feel a lot better. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, you're still walking around in here, aren't you? Following what appeared to be Fuminoi's footprints, Koji ascends the second floor, where he begins to catch the scent of paper in the still air. It is the smell of old books, instantly familiar to anyone who has worked in an antique bookstore or library. The second floor turns out to be a study, its towering shelves packed with such a vast number of books that Koji fears the stability of the floor. As a medical student himself, he's able to discern at a glance that this study belongs to a medical professional, and a high-level one at that. Judging by the content of books, a smorgasbord of technical volumes far beyond a simple student, the owner must be interested in research, and must be more interested in research than clinical medicine. It appears that Fuminoi spent most of his time here. The scattered dust makes it clear that he was searching for something. He seems to have focused on going through the desk and filing cabinet, as the contents of the drawers are obviously disarray. A small pile of books on the side table catches his eye. Being next to the desk, they must have been the most frequently read. What sort of books they are could shed some light on the person who worked here. Koji frowns as he examines the three books. The old leather-bound Western tomes are not scientific at text, but rather the kind of books you would expect to see in a glass case at a rare bookstore. The titles are equally mysterious. Traits de la Chefrez appears to be about some somatics, but Ars Magna et Ultima is some kind of treatise on divination. And there's the Voniak manuscript, which appears to be sort of a picture book. When he pages through it, however, he finds line after line of utterly incomprehensible characters. Maybe some kind of cipher. Whatever they are, they clearly have nothing to do with medicine, refuting Koji's earlier guess that Mr. Ogi was a doctor. Looking down, Koji suddenly notices the glint of something black and metallic underneath the chair. A pocket-sized mag light, quite out of place among the dusty books. Fuminoi must have brought it in. With slight relief, Koji exchanged his lighter for the mag light. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. That's a fucking terrible idea. Huh? Koji noticed something strange, something that was not visible in the lighter's weak flame. Fuck. The slime. Especially thick on the doorknobs and stair banisters. These are no mere handprints. Dark, slimy stains are everywhere, like someone had their hands wrapped in greasy cloth. Looking closer, he sees what appeared to be places where the slime was splashed low on the walls and near the floor. It's almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Ellipses. Are these more remnants of Ogi's life? No, these marks are too strange. Koji begins to feel sick as he finds himself imagining the dizziness of this place wandering around with filthy water dripping from its entire body. Oh boy. Finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. You know, if there was something dead in here, he would know right away, wouldn't he? He finds two empty suitcases. not one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. A sudden chill runs through him. So whoever was living here is still somewhere in this house. Get the fuck out. Suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He can get away with trespassing if he reports it first, but if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. The maglet reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was dredged from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides not to get any closer. He doesn't want any more of that fuel for his imagination. He reaches the door to the bathroom. A common scene from TV dramas flashes through his head. A suicide with slit wrist floating in the bathtub filled with water. It wasn't there a movie where Hitman butchers his victim in the bathroom? It wasn't a hitman, but there was Psycho. And that one character from Dexter. The fuck was that? Oh, okay. Wow, I'm actually being disturbed by this. That's really, really unusual. Koji steels himself and opens the door slowly, shining his light into this ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. Oh god. Oh god. Whew. Dried flesh and blood cling to the curved rib bones have... Whoa, what? Dried flesh and bone clinging to the curved rib bones has turned the inside of the tub black. What the fuck is happening? Koji put one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong. He realizes that he desperately tries to get his thoughts in order. Bones. But they're too small, and there are too many of them. They aren't human. After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom and examines the tub. The tub is half filled with small bones piled to the top of each other like falling leaves. Too small to be human, they appear to be from small animals like dogs, cats, mice, and sparrows. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many corpses would it take to produce this many bones? Get the fuck out of there, dude. And now the music's doing that. That's cool. The bones have all been separated from each other, and it doesn't appear that the bodies were just thrown in the tub and left to rot. This is made clearly by groove-looking impressions left to each other, marked on by teeth biting out through the flesh. I have to pee. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have been keeping some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of small animals to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. But why not dispose of the leftovers properly? They could have just been thrown out with the garbage. Or is there something keeping him from leaving the house? The momentary relief Koji felt when he realized that the bones weren't human is once again under attack by the ever-deepening mystery permeating this house. Just what the hell was Fuminoi doing here? Holy shit! Whoa! Whoa! What are you doing, Koji? Koji whirls around, his pinlet revealing Fuminoi's expressionless face. You're trespassing, Koji. So are you, Koji replies, barely managing to speak over the pounding of his heart. Fuminoi pushes past Koji and looks nonchalantly into the bathtub, as though there's nothing strange about a tub filled with bones. I know the owner of this house. I was just asked to find something. Do you know them? Since when? Who are they? Koji doesn't want to believe that the old, friendly Fuminoi could have contact with denizens of this house. I'll introduce you one of these days, he says, turning to leave without even looking at Koji. I owe them my life, after all. Hey, Fuminoi! With his heart finally beating normally again, Koji runs after Fuminoi. Wait, are they the reason you've gotten so strange? All of the... Standing in the entrance, Fuminoi glances coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji pause. You followed me, didn't you, Koji? And I should probably stop here for this episode. I will see you guys again.